putting through here. So let's go, boy. Let's go. So yo, it's your boy Ronald West, and you're watching Ronald West TV. Hit the like and subscribe button if you like this content. Let's get into the content. So yesterday was the inauguration speech of your boy, your president, Donald Trump, and I thought it was interesting some of the stuff that he said. But one particular clip I saw on Instagram. See, I'm not one to really necessarily follow politics all the way through or listen to the news every single day. But what I do is I read and I develop a basic understanding, a fundamental understanding of both politics, history, economics. And when I heard this little soundbite, I said to myself, this reminds me of somebody else. Almost remind me of somebody else all the way through. And then one part was like, I don't know about that. It's just on a surface level, sounds crazy, but I'm going to play the speech right now. The part of the speech right now that I thought was interesting. Let's get to it real quick. Let me know, man. Comment in the comment section. Make this an interactive thing. I see people, they gravitated towards the last video that I did about Trump. So I figured, like, you know what, let me just follow up on something that's more current. But this little soundbite, I want to know what you guys think. See if you guys can see what I'm thinking. So here you go.
Government policy of trying.
Okay, here we go. Let me just start it over.
Will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Well, basically, that was the little snippet in particular that I thought was interesting. So when I first heard it, until it got to I'll get to the last part. When I first heard it, this sounds like the "I Have a Dream" speech, Dr. Martin Luther King, when he talks about colorblind. And I've read about the colorblind philosophy and ideology of colorblindness, and I actually like it. It works very well. It's the idea of looking at someone, not saying that you're colorblind, you can't tell that they're a different nationality, ethnicity, whatever they happen to be. You can tell that they look different. Even a colorblind person can tell a different ethnicity, a different race has been studied. But the idea that knowing just because of the melanin of their skin or any difference that you see, whether it's race and heritage, any type of background that may be different, we also know the colorblind philosophy lets us and helps us understand and stay in the mind frame that this is not what you judge somebody for. You judge them by the content of their character, not any of those things that have to do with nothing with who the individual is. That's why I'm big on individualism and the individual. But what I'm saying is that particular snippet sounds good. However, you know, there's okay to say something like that. Maybe he is growing and improving as a person, and that can happen. You know, I've said a lot of things in podcasts that I don't agree with now, but maybe he can be improving, because saying that does not coincide with the stuff he was saying several months ago. You know, that does not coincide with some of the things that he was saying before. Like, technically, if you say bring back black jobs now with a colorblind ideology, you're just going to be saying bring back jobs, which sounds a lot better, because a lot of people need jobs, not just black individuals. A lot of people need jobs. So you say bring back jobs. So a lot of his rhetoric is going to have to change if that's going to be true, because it's all about integrity. To say something like that, I thought that was admirable. Now it's all about following through with it, with integrity. Now, I know you have a lot of people out there, the skeptics, they heard that. And like I said, you're a skeptic. They don't believe it. They have their reasons for that. History has shown them not to believe that based off the individual that we're talking about. So fine. But this was the last thing I've heard, and I want to see how he sticks to it. It sounded a lot like Martin Luther King, that first part. It sounded a lot like MLK, and it just so happened to be January 20th. I thought that was interesting. Now, the second part about the only two genders thing, male and female, how I understand where he's going, this soundbite, this sounded weird. based off what the first part started. So since I said to myself, you know what, this reminds me of Dr. Martin Luther King, that little first snippet, I actually act like Dr. Martin Luther King were to say, if he were to say the whole thing. And then we go to the end when he talks about, and there's only a male and a female. And that part right there was, I don't know how to feel about that. I haven't done much research when it comes to, because what other gender are we really talking about? We talk about the transgender and all of these other genders, cisgender. I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't done much research on it, so I don't know. But the deal is, if you're really going to just judge people by the content of their character, that's what we should be talking about, not necessarily whether they're whatever they identify as. It's all about the content of their character. Now, if he's talking about the idea, like, we're not going to create transgender bathrooms, then I can understand that. We have a male bathroom, we have a female bathroom. I can understand that, but the undertone just seem like it can, especially with his populace and the way he is, the people that follow him could take that last part about the male and female the incorrect way. And that's the last thing we need, is for anybody to be discriminated, because this whole thing is about like taking that colorblind ideology and that philosophy to the, and bringing it to the forefront. I think that's a good idea, but we also still should treat everyone with respect, no matter what they identify as. That's just an easy thing for me. I'm really more concerned about the individual and individuals. So that means I'm more concerned about who I am and Ronald. So that doesn't really bother me to kind of like leave others alone into their own wishes, into their own whatever they want to prosper in, their pursuit of their happiness. That doesn't bother me. I never understood how that bothers other people. Maybe I've said things in the past, but that was only to kind of just talk. But I don't want to talk anymore without doing any of my own research. So when it comes to the gender conversation, I don't know much about it and how it goes, and the other genders for that matter. I've done studies about the other genders. I don't know. But that part of the speech, like I said, I don't believe Dr. King would have mentioned that part, but that's a different time. So it's just one of those things. I'm curious as to what the audience thinks about that. The last part of the speech, the first part of that speech sounded a lot like Dr. King with the color blindness. I thought that was good. And a lot of people, I know, they have their quarrels with the colorblind and their gripes with the colorblind ideology, but I think it's a good concept. Basically, yes, we understand, if you're not, even if you are colorblind, you can see the individual in front of you and say, okay, I know that this person is from a different nationality than I am, or the melanin in their skin is different than mine. But that doesn't mean I should judge them by those things. And it just makes sense. That makes sense on its own. If you think about it, I hear a lot of my friends, we have fun conversation, and they throw, general statements out there. And I understand where the sentiment comes from. When they say, oh, black people do this, white people do this. Now, my new thing is, the only way you can really claim that, and we can ascertain that and make sure that's a fact, is if all black people do this, and if all white people do this, or if all Asian people do this, if all Jewish people do this, then we can make that claim and it can be a fact, and we can find out if it's factual. That's fun. But all of the time, these things are just oversimplifications based off of one person's experience, an individual's experience. So that's what we gotta be careful with, because even though we do averages, we say, okay, the average black person, the average white person, the average Asian, the average, when you're dealing with somebody on a one-on-one, you deal with people on an individual level. You don't deal with them on averages. If you deal with people on averages, you will always be stuck in a mindset where everybody else is just like the next person. Basically, every individual, you see a black person, okay, this person is the sum of all the averages of all of the studies and black studies and things, or all the black people I've seen. This person is just like that. That's stereotyping. That's why stereotyping could be funny, because yes, some of the stuff you can see and you can draw lines and be like, okay, this is like, it looks true, it seems true. But the problem is, it's not for every single case. That's the issue with any of the things that people say. If you can't say it for every single person, then you're statement alone can't stand up to real scrutiny, because fundamentally you're incorrect. And once we know that, then it's like, okay, if you want to be fundamentally incorrect, that's cool. And at that point, if you know and understand what I'm talking about and you're fundamentally incorrect and you still spread information, that will be considered disinformation. That means you're purposely spreading the wrong information. And that right there in itself is morally incorrect, morally wrong. So, I want to see how this thing goes. A lot of the stuff that he said in the past doesn't line up to the colorblind part that he said. I thought that was a soundbite, and I thought it was a really good soundbite, and I liked it. The last part, like I said, when it comes to the genders, even when that conversation came up before, I didn't know anything. I didn't know much about it. Didn't do much research about it. I have read about people who've had these feelings of being a man or being a woman in the wrong body. That stuff goes back in history. You can do research and see that that's not a brand new way of thinking that people have. So I don't know if that's a mental health. I don't know what it is. So I haven't done much research on it. So I don't want to talk about it. But that soundbite right there was a little. It wasn't cringe. It was like, if he would have ended off saying that you still to treat everyone with respect, even the individuals who don't fall in this category of male and female, then it's like, okay, we got something going here. Now we got something going. But he didn't. And it was like, it was a little bit. Then like, if it's me, you tell me if it's me. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comment section. Start a conversation. I'm curious. We got a brand new president, and this soundbite to me is a pretty good soundbite. Pretty good soundbite. Scale of 1 to 10, that soundbite, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. You got to look at it objectively. Look at it objectively. What he said, it sounds real good. I don't know about the transgender, not the transgender. I don't know about the gender part. All I know is that you're supposed to respect and treat other individuals with respect, and don't judge them based off of the melanin on their skin, their heritage, nationality. And I will also say you don't judge them based off their gender or whatever they identify with. So when you say things like that and you put it out there, like I said, I'm just worried about the populist state that we're in and the people who follow him deeply and heavily. You don't want to start mistreating individuals who don't fall in line with the ideology of Donald Trump. That's what we don't want to do. And I think that message also needs to be put out there in a way that's in a populist way too. If he were to say something like that, I think that'd be very important. Or maybe he has. Like I said, I only looked at a snippet of the video. I don't have all day to look at all of this research and all of this information and scroll my phone all day. I can't. I need people to give me those information. So, if you're the type of person that can give me the information, you can put it in the comment section. We can create it and turn it into a video. Really would appreciate that too. So let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I'm liking what I'm hearing. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I am an individual, and I always like individual freedoms. So that's why, like I said, even an individual that decides to be transgender or something that doesn't align with male or female, we still should respect them and use that colorblind approach. It's your boy Ronald West. Like and subscribe if you like this content. Peace.